Hi everyone, Rocco Luongo, data-driven business consultant and coach. Have you ever struggled with when work doesn't feel like work or how much work you should be doing? I tell you what, it's something that I struggle with. Have you ever dealt with burnout, with working too much and too long so that it's negatively affecting your health and your relationships and ultimately then negatively affecting your performance at work? Believe me, I understand it. I've struggled with the tendency to be a workaholic, okay? To put in more hours than I need to. I've struggled with that. I've seen my health and my relationships suffer. I'm reading from some notes because I've got some direct quotes in here I want to make sure I get right. Like we talked about in week 2 about leaving energy for good choices. We all need to be pilots of our own human body. Right? A pilot has a schedule and a timeline that they have to meet, but more importantly is if they recognize that the weather is bad or something else is heading for a crash, they need to divert to another airport to make sure that they arrive safely. Now, have you ever thought about that in terms of the safety of your own work, that you're working so hard that you're heading for your own kind of crash? I mean, I do, I definitely do. So I took a look at 5 different safety critical professions out there and how they're regulated to make sure that they don't work too much, to make sure that quality and safety are assured. So let me take a look here. The 5 that I took a look at were firefighter, firefighter, ER doctor, policeman, truck driver, airline pilot, firefighter, ER doctor, police, truck driver, and airline pilot. Those are the 5. Sorry, my lists are not clicking too well this morning, but we're going to get there, okay? What did I find out? In one example of one interview I got from a firefighter friend of mine, I asked him, how much are you allowed to work? And he said that they work 48-hour shifts with 96 hours off in between. Mandatory 4 consecutive days off. But then let me ask you, when they're working, what is the work that they do, right? When they're on for 48 continuous hours, what kind of work are they doing? Obviously, they have to deal with emergencies. If there's a fire, if there's some kind of emergency, they have to always be ready. So that constant readiness has a certain draw, a certain amount of, like a burn rate, you might say, no pun intended. But they also do other things, maintenance. They also work out. They also cook and eat together because they live for those 2 days together as a kind of a mini family. So there's a strong team ethic that happens in there as well. But the point is that they get 4 days continuously off. When's the last time you took 4 days continuously off, let alone knew that you had 4 days off coming after each 2 days of continuous work? Now that's something that I don't have as an analog in my life, but what I'm trying to do is reach out. How do other fields do it? How do other fields solve this issue of safety to avoid a crash? And how can we apply that to some place where we as coaches or business owners or if you're a professional out there in your career, you have a different kind of schedule. Maybe you have a kind of a flexible schedule that allows you to work when you want, but sometimes that in itself can become difficult to manage. Am I really working enough? How many hours should I be working? Well, some people are going to feel their way through that. For example, the way I do it is I journal every week and I write down targeted achievements that I want to hit, not necessarily number of hours that I want to hit, but I like to use these kinds of numbers as a baseline. So what did I learn in surveying those 5 professions? They mandate 42 to 67% downtime. Now, when they count uptime, what they're looking at is shift time. So for example, in the police officer, they work 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And in their 12-hour shift, they can have a combined 90 minutes off, but they can't take it all at once, right? They can break it up. So what I'm saying is you've got mandated downtime, and within your shift, you have allowable break time and time to refocus and recharge. This is what I'm trying to get at, because not all work feels like work. Have you ever had that experience? I might take one client out to lunch and it doesn't feel like work at all. I might facilitate one group through a problem-solving session and it doesn't feel like work at all. Everybody's engaged, energized, charged. They're really working together and humming. But sometimes even writing down an email where I'm really struggling to find out where I'm going to, that can feel a lot like work. So how you deal with work and what you decide work is has a lot to do with your gut and your heart as much as it does with your scheduling and those kinds of tools. Okay? So let's have another look here, right? What is that old world, right? What is the old world? The old world values working all the time, right? It values that Saturday is just another work day. And man, I did that. I worked that. I remember 60+ hour weeks, 70-hour weeks where, the only thing great about Saturday was you got to leave at noon. I mean, that was the best part about a Saturday. And I'll tell you what, my health suffered, my home life suffered, things were not clicking well, and this was not sustainable. I was literally heading for a crash. Okay? What else does the old world? The old world only values you if you're suffering, if you're killing yourself at work. That's what they want. Oh man, Jim's really killing himself. He's a great worker. Is that really the kind of worker that you want? Someone who will kill themselves? Is that really the long-term win for a creative, synergistic environment where you're really generating measurable and repeatable growth? Now, this might seem like blurring the line between life coach and business coach, but let me tell you, if your life is no good, your business is going to suffer too. It isn't a line. That's a line someone else draws. In the real world, we are fully functioning 100% human, and our home life affects how well we work. Okay? The new world recognizes that if you burn yourself out at work, every other piece of your life is going to suffer. It doesn't do your business any good if your team is routinely having heart attacks, divorces, and all these other problems that happen when you burn yourself out. Absenteeism, attrition, turnover, which can be anywhere from half the annual salary cost to 3 times the salary cost to the business to make up for each job that you lose due to turnover. Right? This is something we can target and reduce through smarter leadership and smarter management. All right? What is the new world? Yeah, the new world recognizes if you burn yourself out, the rest of you suffers too. We knew that, right? The rest of your life, if the rest of your life is crashed, how well are you really piloting yourself either home or at work, right? Do's and don'ts, right? Let's use benchmarking data to understand what other people, other fields, other managers are doing that maybe help you get some confidence from the data that allows you to build up new skills, new abilities, right? That's what the data is there for. The data helps you with your story. It isn't supposed to be the story, but it provides that stake in the ground that you can hold on to and allow yourself to grow. Okay? Write down targeted achievements that you want to hit, larger scope achievements. Maybe it's something for one day or a week or a month, but whatever your plan is, make it achievement based because work doesn't always feel like work and productivity doesn't always equate to number of hours spent on a task. You've got to have a structure, but you've got to follow your feeling. When I talked with my wife about it, she's a very talented professional as well. And I asked her, I said, hey, what does work feel like? Would a schedule help you become more productive? And she said, hell no, that is a nightmare scenario for me. So what works for one person isn't going to work for another necessarily. You've got to feel it. You've got to flow your love from your heart. And that's where your happiness will ultimately come from. Okay? Have a plan, but follow your gut. Right? Follow your heart. We just talked about that. Don't assume that all work feels the same. We knew that. Don't burn yourself out. And hey, those 5 different careers where safety is important, don't work yourself in a way that's unsafe either. Okay? You can't afford a crash. All right? And now do this differently. What do we talk about? Track your achievements, right? Make it measurable and repeatable and follow your plan, but follow your heart. Okay? Don't let yourself crash. Thanks very much. I'm Rocco Luongo. This is Thoughtful Leadership. Go you.
Thanks for watching Thoughtful Leadership. If you liked what you just saw, we hope you'll pass along our web address, gorocco.pro, to your friends and colleagues. Be sure to check out our podcasts, our channel on YouTube, our social media presence on Facebook and Instagram, and our blog at gorocco.pro. This has been a production of Power Focus Engineering PS and GoRocco.pro. Join us next time for another edition of Thoughtful Leadership.